Here in Nigeria, the rights group Amnesty International has accused the authorities of being unwilling to tackle mass kidnappings. The allegations came after gunmen abducted about 160 people from a remote village in Niger state in the north-central region. Amnesty International's Nigeria director, Issa Sanusi, said that Friday's attack showed that the government had abandoned the rural areas. He said the evidence suggested that the government was using proxies to negotiate with kidnappers. Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the man himself, Amnesty International's Nigeria Director, Issa Sanusi. Thank you very much indeed
thank you, Charles,
for coming in. Let's start, first of all, with that latest kidnap that we're hearing about in Niger State. A large number of people, estimates of more than 160 people. What more do you know about that abduction?
Well, what we know is that on Friday around 5:30 p.m., these gunmen stormed that village called Kuchi in Munya local government area of Niger State. They killed 10 people, and those that were killed are vigilante who committed themselves to protecting themselves. And then they went from house to house, picking people, vandalizing shops, stealing from properties belonging to people, and then they went away into the bush with about 160 people.
And we understand that many of them were women and children.
Definitely, many of them were women and many of them were children, and that is the usual pattern of what they do, because they know that this category of people are people that they can easily capitalize on to drive emotional sentiments in people so that they can get what they want.
That's an interesting point. We're also hearing that one of the kidnapped victims managed to escape. I don't know whether you've heard anything about that and who that might be.
Well, I have not heard about that yet. Even before I came into this studio, I am in contact with our contact there. I have not heard about that yet.
And do we have any idea at all who might be behind this attack? Because it's been reported that the attackers were flying a Boko Haram flag. Boko Haram, of course, the Islamist terror group that operates across the northern region, although they tend to be in the northeast as opposed to the northwest, north central region.
Well, for so long, at least for 3 or 4 or 5 years, there have been wide speculation about the fact that Boko Haram fighters have set up camps in Niger State. You know, Niger State is very big, the biggest state in terms of land mass. And reports we got after this abduction at Kuchi village was that they have been raising this Boko Haram flag or Islamicist flag. But it is only an investigation, a thorough investigation that can confirm who exactly they are. Because this abduction has become like an industry, an enterprise, where various groups of criminals and gangs and gunmen who are eager to capitalize on security lapses in the country to make money. So the government has a responsibility here to thoroughly investigate and find out who exactly are these people. What is their motive? Why are they doing this? To what end? And who is funding them? Where are they getting all this, the logistics to be able to move this number of people easily from one place to another?
And as you hinted there, Niger State has come under a series of attacks, in the last sort of few years. And I'm wondering why that part of the country appears to have become vulnerable. You talked about the fact that it's got wide open spaces, but I wonder what the attraction is, because the people there aren't the wealthiest in the country, and kidnapping them may not necessarily be the most lucrative thing to do.
Definitely. You know, in the last 10 years, unfortunately, northern Nigeria has been undergoing a serious security challenge, and that security challenge was caused by a lot of factors. Those factors that are available or are happening in Borno State are also happening in Niger State. We have been talking about large areas of land, spaces within Nigeria that are currently without any presence of governance. We have large ungoverned spaces right now because of the collapse of leadership, because of the collapse of leadership and ability to provide governance through the local government system. The local government system has been completely eliminated by corruption and mismanagement. And apart from that, poverty has been increasing, and therefore people find incentive to take up arms and do all these things. But beyond that, we have to also place this responsibility squarely on the Nigerian government, because no one has responsibility to protect Nigerians apart from the Nigerian government. And every Nigerian is entitled to life, at least. No matter the cost of living, you are entitled to life. But we are in a situation whereby people in the rural areas are always been attacked. Every day we receive reports of attacks from Katsina, from Zamfara, from Sokoto, from Borno State, every day. And because these things are happening in the rural areas, far away from the urban centers and the cities, it seems no one cares.
Yeah, that's a very unfortunate, very sad conclusion, but a lot of people would agree with you. I mean, this epidemic, somebody called it, of kidnappings continuing across many parts of the country, including here in Abuja. The government seeming unable to contain it. And this latest attack comes as President Tinubu marks his 1 year in office this week. So not the best news for him.
Definitely. And let me take us back to March, when 187 children were abducted in Kaduna State. So after some few days, they were rescued and they were reunited with their families. But there was no transparency about what happened. Many people have been suspecting that there were underhand deals that lead to, you know, the rescue or the freeing of those children.
But do you talk to the families? I mean, do you find out from them if in fact there
was... Well, the families are always not involved.
Right.
And because of the way power works in Nigeria, people are not considered to be important, even in matters that relate to them. So those families are always shut out. They don't even know what happened.
No, the reason I asked that is that in the past, the families were prevailed upon by the abductors to find money to pay them. I mean, and so in that respect, they would know if a ransom was paid or not.
Definitely. You know, in the case of, you know, small-scale abduction, you know, these abductors, you know, there are many groups of them. Some of them go into these villages and then say that, okay, you have to bring 10 million naira from now to 4 p.m. You have to bring 10 million naira. If you don't do it, you know the consequences is death. And in this kind of circumstance, the families will tell you what happened, where the money was taken to. And Nigerians now know that, you know, these abductors are also on TikTok. They are even displaying stash of cash.
It sounds bizarre.
Yes, they are on TikTok. They are even challenging the government. They are even questioning the authority of the government. They are all over TikTok, bragging about their ruthlessness. Therefore, it's not something is not something unknown. It is something that is known. The responsibility now is on the government to show its authority, to carry out its biggest, most important responsibility. Whatever the government is doing is not as important as protecting lives.
So almost predictably, I mean, if I ask you this question, it seems fairly clear what the answer would be. How would you score President Tinubu in terms of security in his first year in office?
Well, we are already working on a report, and it is not looking good. Abductions have continued, killings have continued. Even last week, 40 people were killed in Plateau State, and these killings are continuing. And in one village in Katsina State called Guga, 15 people were killed this week. So nothing has changed, actually. Nothing has changed. And it's so unfortunate that the Nigerian authority, as big, as important, as resourceful Nigeria is, it could not protect its people.
Yes, it is rather sad, isn't it? But, I mean, what would you recommend? I mean, I know you're not a security expert, but you're a man with an ear to the ground. What would you recommend to the government as the best way of dealing with this? One of the things that is being discussed across Nigeria at the moment is the question of state police, and people are weighing that against the potential problems that might arise from that.
Well, I have a personal opinion about state police, and my personal opinion is that it will not make any difference. As long as there is corruption, as long as there is no accountability, as long as there is mismanagement, no matter, even if you bring the Met Police, they will not make any difference. The context is the issue. It's not about the structure. The structure means nothing. As long as the system is still corrupt, as long as the system has no accountability, as long as the system has no accountability to the people, will never be any difference. And when it comes to recommendation, Amnesty International had always been recommending to the Nigerian government how to deal with these things. And one of the best ways to start is to make sure that all of those behind these atrocities against these villagers are brought to justice. Government has the military, has the every apparatus to do this. They should do it and make sure that there is justice. Until the government starts to bring these people to justice, there will never be end to it. And another important thing is for the government, why is it so difficult to investigate these things transparently? Why are so many things hidden from the people? Why can't we know who these abductors are? Where are they from? What is their identity? What is their motive? Why can't we know these things? So these are some of the things that the government has to do. And when these gunmen enter a village and kill people, it is not about government officials issuing empty statements from Abuja to say nice things that are empty out without any sense of responsibility. The issue is those families will forever not forget that thing. So it's the duty of the government to make sure that justice is done, because if my family member is killed, I will never forget it. No statement in the media will make me forget. Therefore, those families deserve justice. Unfortunately, the Nigerian government had never been seeing things in this way. And another important thing is, as a Nigerian, I will say that we have to really address the issue of the collapse of the local government system, because all the local governments are not functioning completely. No any presence of governance, nothing. And that is why these gunmen and criminals are easily taking charge of these areas and doing whatever they like and getting away with it.
Very sobering words there from you. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for coming in. Issa Sanusi is Amnesty International's Nigeria director.